The envelope was still warm from my hands when I slid it into my jacket pocket. 2 weeks of night shifts, 2 weeks of aching legs and burning eyes from double hours, and I wanted to feel that money, just for a second, before it vanished into someone else's hands. I stepped into the kitchen, the paycheck folded in half, Noah tugging gently at my sleeve. "Mama, can we buy pancakes tomorrow?" he asked, his little voice bright with hope. I smiled, ruffling his hair. "We'll see, baby." But my smile faded the second Mom looked up from the stove. Her eyes narrowed like she could see straight through the fabric of my jacket. "Where is it?" she demanded. I blinked. "Where's what?" She turned, pan still in her hand, grease popping behind her. "Don't play stupid with me. Your paycheck. It's the first of the month. You know the rules. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." My chest tightened. The rules. For as long as I'd been old enough to work, every dollar I earned was snatched from me before I could even breathe on it. Not for rent, not for food, but for Kayla, the golden child who hadn't worked a single day in her life. I hesitated, my hand brushing against the envelope in my pocket. I need this one, Mom. Just this once. Noah's shoes are falling apart. He needs milk and... The sound of metal striking flesh came before I even realized she had swung. Pain exploded across my back, hot and sharp, the skillet ringing in my ears. I stumbled forward, barely catching myself on the counter. "Mom!" I gasped, her face twisted, lips curling. "Don't you dare keep what belongs to this family. Every dollar you make is for your sister, not you. You're nothing without us." Noah cried out, running toward me, but I knelt down fast, pulling him close, shielding him from her fury. "It's okay, baby. It's okay," I whispered, though the pain in my back made every word tremble. From the hallway, Kayla's voice rang like a bell, sharp and amused. "God, Mom, she actually tried to keep it? That's pathetic." She strolled in, her perfect hair bouncing, her silk pajamas untouched by effort. She plucked a strawberry from the bowl on the counter and popped it into her mouth. "Honestly, you should have hit her harder. Maybe then she'd learn her place." Mom smirked, still gripping the skillet, grease hissing behind her. "Don't worry, she'll hand it over." I stood, forcing myself to straighten though the ache burned deep. Kayla doesn't need it. She has everything. She's had everything her whole life. Kayla rolled her eyes, tossing the green stem into the trash. "Because I deserve it. You're just practice. You exist so I can shine brighter. Dad said it himself." My hands trembled, not from fear, but from rage so deep it made me dizzy. Noah clutched my leg, his tiny face buried in my jeans. Mom stepped forward, her voice dropping, venom thick. "Don't make me repeat myself. Hand it over, or next time I won't stop with your back." The room was silent except for the crackle of grease, Noah's soft whimpers, and my own heartbeat hammering in my ears. I slowly pulled the envelope from my pocket, but I didn't give it to her. I held it in my hand, tight, my knuckles white. "One day," I said quietly, my voice steady, "you're going to regret every dollar you stole from me, every bruise, every word." Mom snorted, turning away. Big words from someone with nothing. Kayla laughed, her phone already raised to snap a photo of me, hunched over with Noah pressed against my side. "Perfect," she purred. "You look exactly how you should. Broken." I didn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. But inside, something shifted. They thought the paycheck was the prize. They thought the money was what mattered. But that night, holding my son close, I realized the real prize was what they valued most, their pride, their image, their illusion of power, and that was exactly what I would take from them. The welt on my back throbbed for days. Every time I bent to pick Noah up, every time I leaned down to tie my shoes, the ache reminded me of that skillet crashing into me. I wore loose sweaters to work so no one would notice. I told myself I didn't have time for sympathy. When I came home from my shifts, Mom was always waiting at the kitchen table, Kayla perched nearby like a queen on her throne. They didn't even pretend anymore. "Paycheck," Mom would demand, her hand outstretched like I was some servant. If I hesitated, Kayla would sigh dramatically. "God, she's slow. Imagine thinking she deserves to keep a dime when I need dresses for Tyler's company party." Mom would add her poison, casual as breathing. "Your sister is the face of this family. We invest in her because she can actually make something of herself. You? You're just labor." I swallowed it all in silence. I handed the envelopes over, every cent of my sweat and aching bones disappearing into their hands while Noah and I made do with the cheapest groceries and shoes that split at the seams. But every time I bent my head, I was also watching. I noticed how Dad, when he was home, barked about Kayla's importance, but his eyes flickered when bills piled on the counter. I noticed how Mom bragged to neighbors about raising a princess, but her smile cracked when those neighbors asked why I still lived there. And I noticed Kayla's desperation when she posted photos online, hundreds of them, all smiles and glitter, yet she checked every comment like her life depended on it. They were cracks, small but real. One night, as I put Noah to bed, he whispered, "Mama, when I'm big, do I have to give Grandma my money too?" My chest tightened. I kissed his forehead, forcing my voice not to break. "No, baby, never." That was the moment I knew this couldn't just be about me. It had to stop. Not tomorrow, not someday, but soon. Because they weren't just breaking me anymore. They were trying to break him too. The breaking point came at dinner 2 weeks later. We sat at the table, Noah swinging his legs quietly beside me. Dad had brought home takeout, setting boxes in front of everyone but sliding the smallest container, barely enough for a child, in front of me. "For the dog," he muttered. Kayla laughed so hard she choked on her soda. Mom smirked, patting Kayla's hand. "Don't waste your food laughing, sweetheart. She's used to scraps." I said nothing. I just looked at Noah's plate, full and untouched, and then at mine, and I made a choice. I slid my food across to him, smiling. "Eat, baby." Dad slammed his fist on the table. "See? Even your food isn't yours. Everything you touch belongs to someone else. Get used to it." Kayla leaned back, smirking. "Honestly, Mom, you should have hit her again. Maybe she'd finally learn." The laughter rose again, bouncing off the walls. My back burned with phantom pain, my fists clenched beneath the table. But then, as the sound of their laughter filled the room, something in me snapped into place. Not anger, not tears, something colder. I lifted my head and smiled. For the first time in years, I smiled right at them. It startled them. The laughter faltered. Kayla's smirk wavered, Mom's fork froze halfway to her mouth, Dad's eyes narrowed. "What the hell are you smiling at?" he growled. I leaned back in my chair, Noah's small hand in mine. "Nothing," I said softly. "Just thinking about how things change." They didn't know it yet, but I had already decided the next paycheck would not end up in Mom's hand. The next bruise would not land on my back. The next laugh would not be at my expense. Because I wasn't going to take back my money. I was going to take back everything they loved. The next paycheck day came like a storm I had been waiting for. But this time, instead of slipping the envelope into my pocket, I had already split it, half tucked safely into an account I'd opened in Noah's name, half folded tight in my jacket. I walked into the kitchen, Noah's tiny hand holding mine. Mom sat at the table, Kayla lounging with her phone, Dad in the recliner, the TV blaring. "Where is it?" Mom snapped, her hand out before I even set my bag down. I met her eyes, calm, steady. "It's not yours this time." The room froze. Dad turned his head slowly, his face darkening. Kayla laughed, shaking her head. "Oh God, she's actually trying this again? Mom, grab the pan." Mom's face twisted. "Don't make me hurt you again. Hand it over." I shook my head. "No." The word hung in the air, sharp, heavier than the skillet that had cracked my back weeks before. Dad stood, looming, veins pulsing in his neck. You think you can keep what belongs to us? I straightened my shoulders even as Noah's little fingers gripped mine tighter. It doesn't belong to you. It never did. And tonight, you're going to learn that. Before they could react, I opened the front door. The sound of footsteps filled the hall. One by one, neighbors began stepping into the house, invited by me, drawn in by promises of family dinner. People who had heard their laughter, who had whispered their pity, who had seen me bruised and silent but never knew the truth. Kayla's eyes widened. What the hell is this? I set the envelope down on the table in front of Mom. You want my money? Go ahead, take it. But tell everyone here why it's yours. Tell them why your daughter works double shifts while you sit here and call her worthless. Tell them why your golden child hasn't lifted a finger while you steal from me. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Neighbors shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between my parents and me. Mom's face went pale. How dare you bring them here? Dad roared, slamming his fist on the table. This is our house! But before he could finish, Noah's small voice rang out, trembling but clear. Grandma hit Mama with a pan. Grandpa laughed. Gasps. Silence. Eyes turned sharp, judging, not at me, but at them. Kayla leapt to her feet, desperate. She's lying. She's twisting everything. I pulled out the final blow. Not bruises, not photos, but Kayla's own words, recorded on my phone weeks earlier when she bragged to her friend that I was kept around just to make her shine brighter. I pressed play. Her mocking voice filled the kitchen. Because I deserve it. You're just practice. You exist so I can shine. Kayla's face drained of color. Guests shook their heads, disgusted murmurs rising louder now. Tyler, her boyfriend, who I'd specifically invited, stood at the back, his jaw tight. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The look in his eyes said enough. Kayla's pedestal had crumbled. Mom tried to speak, her voice breaking. It's not like that. But no one listened. Dad grabbed the envelope, his hands shaking, tearing it open to prove a point. But instead of cash, what spilled across the table were scraps, torn receipts, crumpled grocery slips, worthless paper. I smiled, holding Noah close. That's what you've always given me, worthless scraps, and now it's all you'll ever get from me. The room erupted, neighbors whispering, some walking out in disgust, others shaking their heads. Tyler turned his back on Kayla and left without a word. Dad slumped into his chair, red-faced and trembling. Mom buried her face in her hands. Kayla screamed, but no one cared. And me? I walked out the front door with Noah in my arms, Michael waiting with the car. For the first time, I didn't leave empty-handed. I left with my son's small smile pressed against my shoulder, with the sound of silence choking the people who had once laughed at me. And I knew they'd never get another dollar, another laugh, or another piece of me again. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.